So hey, good morning everybody. It's Monday morning. I'm at home eating breakfast and thinking in my mind what I'm going to do when I go to work. I already know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to be doing my 63 Chevy truck for James. He's the owner. And I always look on YouTube for various instructional videos or various videos that you folks put out on YouTube, what relative to what I'm working on right now. And I always look at to compare what I'm doing and look and see if I'm doing things incorrectly, unsafely, and if I can improve my game. And I always look at other aspects. Is the person wearing gloves? And I'm not being critical of them. I'm going to show you here in a minute. I'm not being critical of the person. I'm just looking at the fruit, at the things that you actually do. And I compare that to what I do. And if I see something better, I always adapt it and make it happen. And a lot of times, we can get focused on a certain area that is really rotted or rusty, that needs that attention. But if you pull back a bit and look at the overall bigger picture, you'll see a lot more things that need to be done to make that one focused area perfect. And if you pull back and you see everything, you'll probably do more work, but you'll do it at one time and get everything done very quickly and easily. And I know that from experience applying this to what I do. And also in this video, I want to show you a couple things what I observe. And I don't know who this person is. I don't know this video. So I made it full screen so you can't see identifying things pertaining to who it is, because I'm not being critical of anybody else. I'm always looking to evaluate myself. Okay, here we go. Okay, I even took out the sound from this person's video because I don't want to have anybody out there saying, oh, you're, dropping a dime on so-and-so, so-and-so. I don't know who this person is. I'm just random YouTube searching. And this is a early 60s Chevy truck. He's repairing the lower front kick panel area, floor area. And I look at things like, okay, where's he working? What could he do that would make his job easier? And I applied that to myself. Years ago, I started asking myself those questions. And I no longer work outside on the dirt. I just don't. Because if you're going to do this kind of work, this is not a fix by the roadside. You have to get out and change a tire. So you're going to change a tire where the grass is, etc. This kind of work demands that you have the tools to do this easily. And I learned this from doing media blasting. Do I want to lay under a car and blast? No, I don't. I want to bring the car to me. I want to stand up, be comfortable, sit down, be comfortable to do the work, because it's easier on me and you get a better product. So what he's doing now is he's going to take off a cap. Somebody put a cap on the frame rail. Why even do that? This is just bizarre to me. I just don't get it. He pulled the frame rail cap off. I've done numerous jobs like this. Ironically is that the 63 Chevy truck that I'm working on right now, given the amount of damage in the roof, it didn't make its way down to the cab support frame struts. Like that one was completely rotted out. I think on the 63 I'm working on right now, there was just one support strut that was partially rotted, and I just cut out a segment and welded in a new segment with some 16 or 18 gauge steel. Made it good to go. Now look at him, he's focusing on just that one little area. Now if you pull back a bit, you realize that nothing is media blasted. So unless you get the entire vehicle blasted, you're going to be endlessly looking at these little spots like that. Okay. And another thing to factor in and consider is, do you really want to work on your vehicle when it's that filthy? You know, when you have every other area old, rusted, crappy junk. You know, you can't tell. You absolutely cannot tell the true status of a person's vehicle, your vehicle, until you actually get it media blasted. It's just impossible. So I always like to look at it and, you know, pull back. When I used to navigate in the military, tracked vehicles, you know, we had several maps we could, you know, in an infantry battalion, we had several maps that we could refer to. And the one that I always liked using was the 1/100,000 grid. It gives you the overall big picture, where you are on the ground, to where you want to be and where you don't want to be. And then also use other ones too. 1/50,000 was a little bit closer, quite a bit closer, but 1/100 was actually a better viewpoint. And that's military terminology, map terminology. So hopefully if you're a former military, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, this guy's got all the rust in all the right areas where they all rot out. That lower A pillar, that entire floor section needs to be replaced. I would do that simply because it's not blasted, and might as well be prudent and change out that whole outer floor, which is the inner rocker area. Because just doing this, as I said earlier, you're just going to be chasing your tail, and you're going to be finding those kind of spots everywhere. And say you find all the spots that you think you have found, and you do all the work, and then you get the vehicle blasted, you're going to find many, many more areas that are going to give you these problems. So, and I'm going to add to this video when I get to work, showing you the entire truck. Just for, I mean, you've seen them before in my videos, but just to show you, compare what we're seeing here right now to what actually is the working, you know, the working piece. So you can get the gist of it here in about 6 minutes, 7 minutes video so far, and I'll go to work and give another 2 or 3 minutes there. Okay, see ya. Okay friends, I'm back here now at my shop. I'm going to show you the Chevy truck. It's just a minute or two more comparing what I talked about earlier. Before I go to that, just to capture the moment and the essence of having clean stuff to work on, you can see everything here has been blasted. Everything is clean. Everything is an epoxy primer. I don't crawl under cars at all anymore. Unless I'm out stranded on the side of the road, something like that, I always bring the work to me. This, my friends, is the only way I will do vehicles. The only way. There is a small exception to this rule. Let me loosen that up a bit more. Is this cab needs to go on this rotisserie, but this rotisserie is occupied with this cab, and it so that cab cannot go on this rotisserie until this cab is off this rotisserie. So this cab is going on that lift today, to start pulling off all the old metal. I'll finish this cab up, order the parts this afternoon for the roof, but this is how I like to do work. I don't like to crawl underneath the vehicle, lay on the dirt. On that video you saw, that I showed and shared with you earlier, he had his MIG gun in the dirt. He had the tip buried in the dirt. That's something I will never do. It's just a choice, because I like everything to be clean, everything to be somewhat organized. And this is the frame rail that I had to replace the segment on, right here, right there. Now that's the irony is that I'm very surprised that these cab strut frame mounts did not rot away, given the copious amount of rot that was in the roof. So there it is. Just a little comparative analysis, and something I think I try to do better than all the other people out there on YouTube that share their work. You know, they share their work and they want you to see what they do. They want to give you lessons. They want to teach you. It's very, very obvious, and there's a tremendous amount of garbage on YouTube, but there's some good stuff on YouTube also. You know, there really is some good stuff, but there's a lot of trash. So that's just me talking about just some comparison that I shared earlier in this video. Things that I like to do, and I think that these things are valid and important for you. If you're out there in the middle of Wisconsin doing this, try to go ahead and do the 100,000 kilometer view versus the 50,000 kilometer view on your map. So if you can do those things, I think you'll have a better vehicle in the end. And the result, it might take a little bit longer, but it's always better. This stuff outlasts us. We don't live that long. And it outlasts us. So it's important we do the best job we can. And there it is. Cheers. Bye-bye.